really what we're going to now show is what's happening on the side of the agent. So Andy, over to you.
Brilliant. Okay, great. Thanks very much, Mark. So look, what we can see here is the Webio user interface. So once you've got to log in with Webio, your agents would essentially have access to messaging with your customers on a variety of channels. We've talked about DebtChat today, the likes of WhatsApp, two-way SMS, and so on. Now, rather than getting too bogged down in everything here, I just want to focus on that sort of web chat conversation that Mark was having, which we can see here. So, the conversation was essentially allocated to the agent's queue. So we can see you've got an agent set up to be managing collections. Again, look, this just can be set up to mirror your company. You might have disputes, you might have credit limit requests, you might have collections, you might have, like vulnerable customers, etc. But as soon as Mark sort of requested to talk, this popped up in the agent's view, and we can see here sort of the back and forth conversations happening. Now, what's really interesting and really key, particularly when we talk about consumer duty, the need to support customers, the importance from a regulatory and also an ethical perspective of managing, identifying vulnerability and sort of prioritizing those customers. What we've got as messages came in, such as, I lost my job last week and will struggle to make the repayments that we got here. What the agent saw pop up was a potentially vulnerable message, a potentially vulnerable customer. This is really key. It's not just about identifying, vulnerable customers early. It's like, how do you treat them after that? What processes can you put in place, much like you have on the phone and email on your digital messaging channels, to then action and actually support this customer in the right way? Does this mean this conversation, this customer gets routed through to a different team member who's sort of more qualified to manage and support these types of customers? How are you going to report on these customers? Because again, that sort of obligation to report to FCA around vulnerability, this is going to give you that bird's eye view from a management perspective. So we can see this conversation then carried on, and what we can see is, look, I can make a payment of £50 this coming Friday. Would that work for you? Again, these propensity models where we can see propensities collected, these are AI models, tailored to the types of conversations you're having around key propensities, and it tagged as a potential payment. So again, another priority customer is going to be tagged and identified quicker. So your business again has that data and those almost those filters to sort of act upon payment proposals, propensity not to pay, vulnerability, and so on.